And let's share the screen. Okay. Do you see everything okay?
Yep.
All right. Oh, there we go. All right, done. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Now that was actually taken from our balcony at the view. That's the morning sun. There on the left is the observation deck outside of the trading post, I guess they call it, the visitor center, or what have you there. But put that in Luminar and added the sun rays. There was some sun rays there to start with, and you had to look to see them. So I just added some and stretched them out a little bit.
Mhm. Nice. The Goulding's trading post where they have that observation tower now?
It's right. It's all actually, it's all under the same roof as what the view is. It's all one big building.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's nice.
There's a restaurant in between it, and that in the hotel lobby, and then the rooms.
Ah, okay. Yeah, nice. Hmm. Just wondered, maybe a little gradient darkening up this area just a bit.
Darken it up a little bit.
Have
The
you
dark
tried,
spots or the whole area.
yeah, this whole area. Have you tried that? What do they call it? Where you can light the foreground or the background in Luminar.
Oh, the AI light.
Yeah, here, let me find it. I think it's Relight AI.
Or relight, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that might do the trick on this. Let's take a quick look and we'll see. Oh, well, it unexpectedly quit. That's no good. Okay, well, that's not yours. Find the one we want here. There it is. Okay. There we go. So yeah, this relight, let's see if that works. So near it should be down here. Let's just make it real dark to see. Yeah, that actually works pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna make it real dark so you can, this depth thing, you can float it with the depth, see? So you can kind of take it back into Z, if you will, X being horizontal, Y being vertical, and Z being into the photo and out of.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can kind of roll it in there a little bit and then, back it off to where you like.
Oh, okay.
And then far, you can dial that down a little bit if you want to. And then I don't know, did you play with enhance at all?
Yeah, it's either enhance or structure. I might have done structure.
Mhm. Yeah, I usually put a little of both in there. Enhance does kind of open this back up again, but yeah. Although, now you can use as many of these as you want, because as soon as you turn it off and on again, like here, I'll turn it off, turn it on again, it's back to 0. And if you go into edits, it's up there. So yeah, I'm gonna actually shit can this one real quick. There we go. And we'll just go back to tools. And I'm thinking, you might want to enhance just these monoliths a little bit. In that case, then you want to add a mask with this little pointy thing.
Okay, I've not messed with any of the masks on this yet.
Yeah, well, let's play with them. So you hit that add mask. I usually use a paintbrush. Usually starts pretty big, so I'll make it a little smaller. I'll leave the softness and the strength at 100%. And then I'll just kind of paint the perimeter. It doesn't auto mask yet.
Okay.
So just so you know. Yeah, let's just do this for now. And yeah, we can come over this way and then use the erase. Make it a little smaller. Kind of get it out of there a little bit. And then the brush stays the same size, by the way, between,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it doesn't really matter which one you use. You'll have to change it. Hopefully they'll get a thing where you can use the option key to toggle back and forth, but right now you got to actually hit the little icons. So once you have that, you can kind of see what that looks like in the areas you
So
want.
you just kind of break the accent on and then
Yeah, 'cause
add to it.
if it's off, you don't see anything, but as soon as you turn it on again,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's when you get the mask tool. And then
Okay.
now I'm going to overdo it a bit so you can kind of see the before and after.
Okay.
And you can see where it's hanging out there a little too much.
Mhm.
Then just go back to your mask and just erase that area, with a smaller, maybe not so soft, and just get in there and go. And also, if this thing going on and off, the mask going on and off bothers you, which it does me sometimes, where these three dots are, you can say show mask, or you can use this angle that's next to your question mark on the keyboard to toggle it back on and off.
Oh, okay.
And that way, while you're painting, it doesn't go on and off every time you let go of the mouse.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes life a little easier for you. All right, so once we got that, then we can toggle that back off and come down here and see. Yeah, maybe something like that should be enough. There you go. Okay. Then if you use structure, you can do that selectively too, so it doesn't start edging up the grain in your sky. You can just, do it overall. And then sometimes the easiest way for me, it would be to, as soon as you move it, that comes up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so say, I'm exaggerating again, but say I like that. But when I look in the sky, well, if this was 100%, I'd probably see some grain. So another thing you can do is you can grab a really big brush and just paint that sky out. But actually, the way this works, where it's red is where it's using it. It's the opposite of what you'd think with coming from Photoshop. Okay, so then if you hit these three dots again, you can just hit invert.
Oh, okay.
See, now it's just affecting this area. All right.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so that's a little quick.
I've not missed the brush in yet.
Yeah, those masks come in handy. And then, you can turn this off and turn it on again. And maybe you want to put more just in this one. You can go and just look at that one. All right, hit the mask and just paint here. And it'll just put it there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a nice thing about, so see, you got two of these structures now. You got one for that, and you got one for the rest.
Oh, okay. So it builds in.
Yeah, it builds them up in this edit panel.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna close this down. Not save it. All right. This next one here. Okay. Still
And
mining.
that one there, I worked on a tree quite a bit. The tree was dark, so I lighten that up and done that mostly, I think, in Photoshop and Lightroom. And I think I did go to the Luminar though, and it did add some structure to it.
Mm.
And I tried to paint a little bit of white between the tree and the monolith there to kind of bring your eye back in. I don't know. At this point, it doesn't look like I painted quite enough, or maybe it's not even effective. I don't know.
Yeah, my eye keeps going to these clouds. I think maybe those could get darkened up a little bit.
Oh, and the tree should be darker. Okay.
Yeah,
My eye too, yeah.
Yeah, these two here.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, maybe even that. I think that'll bring you right into here.
Oh, okay.
You knock those two down. Yeah,
Either that or flip the sky.
yeah,
Oh,
yep.
Say what? Clip the sky?
flip it.
Oh, slip it.
Flip, F-L-I-P, I
Oh,
think.
flip it.
Was this the original sky or did you add?
No, that's the regular sky.
Yeah, okay.
That was the sky that was there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, in that case, I would just, correct those down.
Okay.
And then these branches here are almost a little too light. Maybe you could kind of work it down into here where it's light too, and then blend it. So
Okay, well, that would be easy to
Here's
do
better.
because I lightened them, try
uh,
to get more detail in, so I could back them in, back out all pretty easy.
yeah, if
they
you still have
really
it in
are.
a layer, that's easy. Yeah, either that or just keep bringing it down a little bit so it's not just here, it just kind of blends its way down because it's kind of a,
Okay,
but yeah, it looks good. Real nice. Okay.
and that's an evening shot from the hotel room from the balcony. The sun come out right at the last minute. I took on the left where the observation deck was, I cloned that out. I just didn't like the looks of it in there.
Mhm.
And put it in Luminar and added a little bit of setting sun, evening sun tone to it.
Mhm. Nice.
That's really nice.
Thank you.
Mm.
I didn't know if that was too bright.
It's a lovely contrast with the red orange against the blue, the
Yeah, you could bring it
sky.
down. Yeah, or darken the sky a little bit, and see if it pops some more, and then maybe darken the foreground a little to balance it.
Okay.
Got a similar shot. I was there. It was pouring out, and then finally the sun came up at the last minute, and there was a rainbow right through here.
Oh,
cool.
wow.
And the sun was way over, so it was over on the sides. I'll see if I can find it when we get toward the end. It should be pretty
Yeah,
easy.
I didn't think I was going to get any kind of sun at all that night. It was not looking good.
Yeah, we were just at the entrance and it was starting to get pretty dingy, and I was kind of 50-50 whether we should go in or not. And then right after I paid to go in, it started pouring. I thought, oh, great. But it
I had
turned out
given
pretty
up
good.
on it, and in the back on the ground, I started to see that sliver of light yellow water start to come across the ground. I thought, my
Yeah.
God, maybe something's going to run across here yet. It just kept
Yep.
coming.
Yeah, you never know. It changes very quickly there.
Mhm.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
Ooh,
This is I tried layering, and at this point I've got it. I'm still working on the layering effect. I don't know, for a couple hours worked on it. This is actually set at an ISO of 8,000 for 8 seconds,
Mhm,
an f4 at 16 millimeter,
mhm.
and that's a single shot. And the muddiness down in the bottom when I stacked them just made things really muddy. So I've kind of worked myself through that. So next week, I'll bring the other one in that I'm working on stacking now. But I don't know that the 6 that I stacked looks any, much more than what I've got now as far as the stars go.
Mhm. Yeah, what about the, you get any more shadow detail out of them or,
They're darker.
yeah?
They're not as muddy, I think.
Okay, so you got a little more of an edge, silhouette edge.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice to see that. And I'm guessing, whoops. I'm guessing you may have to do some noise reduction on this too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did on the one I'm working on now. I'm going to have done that.
Mhm. Yeah, they get real noisy in the shadow, in the very dark areas. Yeah. Pretty natural.
There again, that was a cloudy night, and starting out, I didn't think it was going to get anything, and I set the alarm for 2 o'clock, and then it pretty well had going out. So then this is the same night. Now this one here, I set that at 200 ISO for 2 hours at f4.
Mhm.
Got that. Now the original picture come out, the black was real gray, light gray. So I darkened everything down, exposure, back exposure off, and turned it into a black and white better then.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But I don't know what all the white spots are in,
Over in here.
yeah.
Oh.
Road.
They drive
The
it.
stars got into the ground almost. This is interesting, this little trail here coming across.
Yeah.
Some kind of plane or something. Or maybe a satellite, I don't know.
Mm.
Just kind of goes all the way over. Yep. Another one here too. Where's that one end up? Yeah, it kind of fades out up here, but you can kind of see it. Yeah, it's amazing. You do these long exposures, what you find.
And then that the light on the road, that's the trail of the road back into the valley.
Mhm.
And evidently there's the Navajo travel that at night.
Evidently.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to get home somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah, city lights back here.
yeah. I don't know what towns or anything that would be. But that one there in the center, that's really bright.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Be nice maybe to burn those down a little bit.
Okay.
You might, I don't know if you tried that super contrast in Neo. That's kind of neat. You could paint that.
I
in.
didn't on this one now.
Yeah, there's at the bottom here in the professional, there's something called super contrast.
Okay.
And it breaks into highlights, midtones, and shadows. And if you bring the highlights down, you can see you're starting to, and then change the balance even. Yeah, you can get it down pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's affecting the rest, but I don't know if that bothers me, how it's bringing that down too. And then you can look at midtones as well. Yeah, a little bit of that might help. There you go. So, but yeah, you can play with that. And again, you can paint it in with a mask, if you wanted
Okay.
certain areas.
That definitely helped the roadway too. The roadway was a
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
bright.
it's a little,
Mhm.
yeah, it just
Yeah.
takes you away from the sky. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would play with that. See what you come up with. You could open up either in Lightroom or in Luminar. You just take the highlights down too. Get a little more
Okay.
detail. Yeah. All right. Thanks. Looks like you had a good time.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's try Jim Bowman. Before I do, let's see who's all here. Did Ellen show up yet? Nope, I don't see Ellen. Okay. All right, well, we'll leave him for last. Okay. This on a window or a light box?
A light box.
Ah. Fun.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty straightforward, nothing much except, just a lighting technique.
Yeah. Very soft. I like it.
Yeah, I like the, just especially the transition from the light to the dark.
Mm-hmm. Getting a little veins through the leaves. Yeah. Kind of ethereal and soft feeling. I like it. Nice.
So that's just in a light box with a white background then?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah,
it's
just a light
underlit,
box of,
underlit, right?
pardon?
It's underlit. It's like a box that you put slides on and you put
Yes,
it over that.
yes,
Yeah.
it's actually,
Oh,
that's
okay.
exactly what it is.
Yeah. So Don, instead of being a light tent, it's a light box like you used to use to look at transparencies.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
lit from underneath it. You could do it with just a
Oh,
piece
okay.
of plexi or one of those LED strips.
Yeah.
You put.
I did a whole series of flowers this way, and it really is, it turns out real well.
Mhm. Yeah, I did do something similar for a client some years back, and then I inverted them and made them black and white, and they almost look like X-rays because he wanted.
Oh,
Yeah, I tried doing X-rays first, but all the X-ray machines I tried, even at the lowest setting, just blew through them too much. They were too strong. So I ended up doing that, and he signed off on it. So we did a whole bunch of them. But yeah, it was interesting. You can do a lot with light boxes, especially with plants and flowers, because that's when you start seeing all this nice detail, the veins and other things, other backlight. Very nice. Oh, is that haystack?
Yeah, so this is the Oregon coast,
Mhm.
obviously. I went up there to see my daughter and got these shots.
Nice.
nice. Beautiful sky.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there was, I just like the layered effect of the stacks, and then the other layer of the trees, they all just kind of
Yeah. And the
layered
haze.
one after the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, the haze from all the wind and
You can almost hear the waves.
yeah.
Were you up on a cliff?
Yeah, exactly.
Very nice.
Overlooking you can see a little person down there on the kind of left-hand side.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, right down.
Oh, wow.
I'm in there on purpose just to give you an
Giant
idea.
Scale, wow.
Mhm.
Ooh,
Oh, looks like a
So this
painting.
is, yeah, one of the lighthouses, obviously. And just caught it, the skies are often just really spectacular.
Mhm.
And so just caught it just right.
Yeah.
you caught the waves just right too.
And the waves almost mirror the mottled clouds in the sky too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice.
You think if you painted that cliff with some contrast, it would compete too much with the waves?
So add more
I
contrast.
think so. I tried it. I felt like it needed to be less prominent.
Okay, that's what
Yeah,
I was
let
asking.
it fall
But,
back a little bit. Yeah.
I guess it's a matter of taste.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. Might open this up just a hair.
Mhm.
'Cause it's a little darker
A
than
little dark, yeah.
the rest is really nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is a kind of like this it was an amazing shot. I mean, this little hood he has over his head is just kind of really, I don't even know what kind of a, and maybe somebody else knows what kind of a owl he is.
The
I think
barred
it's
owl,
Screech. Oh, is it a barn?
Barred.
Oh, barred.
Barred,
Yeah,
barred.
barred, yeah.
Huh.
Not barn,
Gorgeous.
BARN, that's a different.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
color. Wow.
yeah, very cool.
How dark was it when you took this?
It was dark.
Got great detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did try to improve his eye reflection in there
Mhm.
and got a little bit better by lightening it, but you couldn't go too far. So
You know, I look milky.
yeah, it just got too, so you can only just kind of do a partial reflection, you know.
Mhm. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Like it.
Oh, you got the sun rays. Perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my daughter and I walked up to that lighthouse there, but you know, there's just, you know, you guys probably, many of you have been to Oregon, but the Oregon coast is just spectacular.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Makes you want to go back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, lots of photographers take trips over there often, you know.
Sure. Imagine. Nice job.
That's
Well,
all.
now I got something to think about. When are we going to Oregon? Okay, Jim Murphy.
Ooh, wow.
It's a red-tail hawk. And so there was a shaft of light, and I just kind of waited till he moved and got that shaft of light on the eye.
Mhm.
So this was taken at the Desert Museum.
Oh, okay. I was wondering how you got so close to one.
Yeah, I'm about 10 feet away.
Yeah. Wow. That's like National Geo quality.
Yeah, so he actually, I took some straight, I took a couple straight on shots. I didn't realize he doesn't have a right eye.
Oh,
He has just an empty socket on the right side, so not very attractive looking.
good thing he gave you the right side.
Yeah.
It's better half, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do anything to the feathers and stuff on its head, like a little paint?
Oh, I usually just sharpen them. I usually use a little bit of denoise, which sharpens a little bit, and then AI clear. And then sometimes I use a little bit of micro contrast and so forth. So I honestly don't remember this. I did this about 2 weeks ago. That shaft of light, I did darken it to the right there because it was pretty strong to the right. So
Mhm.
I darkened that in a little bit. And then that just was the background.
Mhm.
So what was your lens?
200 to 600, and I'm probably at 400 or 500, I would guess.
Yeah, yeah, it looks pretty
Mhm.
beautiful photograph.
Gorgeous.
Real nice.
Oh, wow.
It's a crested caracara, which is a relative of, I think, of vultures. And so anyway, I really like the two-tone bill on this.
Mhm.
And I had a bunch of them with the, more of the bird, but I just wanted to zero in on the bill. And there was a lot, I actually removed, there was a big chunk of bloody meat on the tip.
Mhm.
And I actually removed that, but I left a little bit of it there.
Mhm.
There's a little bit of meat still there. Looks like he's wearing a wig.
A toupee.
A bad toupee.
Yeah.
Uh, I like the light background on that one. It
Yeah.
really is a,
Yeah, I
makes
thought
him pop.
I thought the light background worked on this one. He's got the, you know, lightness on his neck there as well too. Kind of almost a little bit of like a pastel color, but not quite.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ah, the Harris Hawks.
Yeah, there are the Harris Hawks.
Little competition.
Yeah, a little alpha beta action going on there. So on this one, their feet were moving quite a bit, and I went in and masked them and sharpened up the claws in the feet because they were kind of blurry. And then I had to extend the canvas because the claw on the one on the left there was right at the edge of the canvas.
Mm.
So I expanded the canvas to give it a little more room.
Very nice.
You know, what if maybe, did you open the eyes up a little bit?
I did, but I could do it more. Obviously, I could do it a little bit more there probably, especially with that one.
Yeah.
I love the tail feathers on this one. You don't get to see them like that.
Yeah.
Really good.
Oh,
So I've been experimenting, trying to use slow shutter speeds on birds, and so far I'm having a lot of trouble. But this is a handheld 600 millimeter, and I think 1/320th, and obviously hummingbird wings move pretty fast. So it's kind of what I was going for, but not exactly. So I'm going to continue to develop my technique for shooting flying birds, you know, with slower shutter speeds, maybe 1/25th or, you know, speeds like that. So this particular one, you know, the bill's in pretty good focus. The tip you can see is a little bit double there, and the back of the head's not too bad, but kind of got the wing effect I was sort of going for.
I like that.
Yeah.
The lighting was not real good on this. I should have been in a different position. There's a lot of shadow in there I don't really care for.
Yeah. Easy fix. To sharpen this build up a little bit.
Mhm.
Just get a clone brush. Yeah, get the hardness up around 60–70%. And
Just go ahead and paint that little part on the left out.
yeah, just paint it out a little bit.
Yeah. Just
Yeah, just kind of, well, probably gonna have to get pretty close. You know, work your way in.
the tip was the worst part.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
That looks better.
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't take much. And then I would try and separate them from the background a little bit more. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, the tonality is really close.
Yeah, it's very close. Let's see what we can pull off here. Let's. So I've been playing with Neo so much lately. I'm gonna take it over there.
Yeah, I've got Neo. I just haven't been using it.
Yeah. It's kind of like working with the masks in Lightroom or Camera Raw, where you can just keep stacking them in. The only thing I don't like is they haven't gotten around to setting up auto masking yet. So you gotta paint pretty well and, you know, erase. But other than that, there's some nice features. Let's look at this enhance first.
Ooh,
Okay. There's two things I start off with. I do enhance and then I go into develop and I go to smart contrast. And it builds up pretty quick. So you gotta just kind of watch it. But between those two, you can get a lot going
much better.
just from that. And then, you know, you can go into structure and see how that works for you. I probably want structure in him, but not so much in the background,
Right.
so again, I would just paint it in where you want it in this case, so, mostly around this area. This way a little bit. Maybe down the feathers a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah. You can even add a little more if you want. There you go.
Nice.
And do the same thing with detail. You don't want the detail in the background because you can edge up the grain, but you can sort of look at it. And I probably wouldn't use a small detail at all. I'd use maybe mid and the large. And I usually like to look at it 100%. Of course, you got a small file here, so it's not going to make a lot of difference. But yeah, I think that might be a little too much. All right. And then again, just paint it in where you want it. So, maybe you just want it in this area here. And yeah, you gotta go over here. Erase. Take it off the background. Yeah, oops. Yeah, spots you missed in the middle. Yeah, kind of feather it down a little bit. Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
So the only other thing I can think of is a vignette.
Right. That could,
And I usually open advanced settings because usually what I do is I do it pretty harsh. And then I take the feather up a little bit, and flatten it out a little. And then I adjust it where you want it and decide how big you want it.
What about doing a white one?
Doing white?
Yeah, just try it.
Try that.
Kind of like it.
Yeah, it might work too. Yep.
It's more of a kind of soft feel. The black is kind of harsh.
So then you can play again with your feathering. There you go.
Very nice.
Yeah. Might be a different look.
yeah. I wouldn't have thought of the light, but it does look, looks okay.
Yeah.
It really draws your eye right to the bird.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice job.
Yeah. I'd say keep that up. Let's see what you come up with.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep working on those slow shutter speeds. I'm gonna start using a tripod. I think that's gonna help me a little bit.
Mhm.
Handheld is just tough.
It
Yeah,
is
yeah, you got enough going on.
Yeah.
heavy lens.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's see, Maureen.
I only have two. And these took so long. I have a third one I'm working on, but I try as I could. I couldn't get it done in time. So I went to,
57 Chev.
pardon?
57 Chev, I said.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. They had a
57,
little car show in town last week. And so I went over and just took a couple pictures. They had some really beautiful cars.
Oh, where was it?
I think Silver Springs, does that make sense?
Oh,
It's
okay.
like a retirement home and
Yeah.
they had some cars there.
Nice.
It was nice, yeah. The nice thing about it, there was no people around, there weren't vendors, you didn't have buildings behind the cars. Yeah, it was
That's
nice.
cool.
So I went a little crazy.
Oh,
Just a
A little
little,
crazy.
just a little.
Just a little.
I had fun. There's a million different renditions of this, but this is the one that I like the best.
Happy Chevy.
I took the Chevy and I go into, I'm trying to think what it's like lens corrections.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I really pushed, I think it was the horizontal correction. So it widened.
oh,
Yeah. Got that perspective
And it
going.
kind of levered it backwards instead of it being kind of flat on the front. I kind of like that effect. And then I did one that's called Spiralize, I think, and that kind of gives it more of a rounded look. It kind of makes it more rounded in the front.
Oh, Spherize, yeah.
Sure, eyes, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes it a little bit more rounded. Then I went and found this the lips,
Oh,
and I had several different pair, and this one seemed to work the best. And I can't tell you the millions of things I did to that. Liquefy, spiralized, masked it, pulled it,
yeah.
pushed it.
Put some shadows in there too.
I put a shadow behind it,
Yeah,
and
that's good.
just
Get
to,
away with them.
so it looked like it was standing out in front of the car, you know, not just like flat on it, and tried to give it a little dimensionality.
It looks like you tried to sample the color on the car to put on the lips to.
I did not.
Oh, you
That's
did
how
not?
they came. There's
Oh,
this
you
free
did.
site, or you can go out and get images,
Oh,
and there you don't have to pay for them, and you have a license to use them. And so I think it's called Pixabay,
hmm.
and they have all kinds of fun stuff out there.
Oh,
What's it called?
I think it here. Can you hold on just a second? Let me look on my. It is called Free Images. Pixabay, PIXABAY.com.
That's a new one. Yeah, we just Google free stock photos. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, I used to build websites, and we were always looking for
Yeah.
photos, and clients loved it when they didn't have to buy it. They didn't have to pay for it.
Right.
And they've got lots of cool stuff out there. Anyway, and I ran it through Topaz, and I think Impression, to get that kind of it's kind of a liquidy kind of look to it.
Yeah, on the chrome and in the.
And then I cropped off the top.
Mhm.
So before. After.
The guy that probably owns it would be horrified with what I did.
I'm sure.
Not
Oh,
probably.
that restoration.
The next one, this is a Lincoln, 46 Lincoln, and I was just mesmerized with the hood ornament.
I think this is my neighbor's car.
Oh,
Guy was really nice. I talked to him for quite a bit. He was really cool.
Kind of a shorter look guy,
Kind of what?
shorter man. Oh, maybe 5'5", 5'7".
You know, I'm so short, I don't really pay attention to people's height.
I'm pretty short. He's shorter than I am.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I am.
I'm surprised because usually most people I'm looking up.
I don't know. He was very proud of this car, and the car is just absolutely stunning.
Yeah. I think that's Tony
It is
Doherty. Yeah,
stunning.
very
Yeah.
nice man.
He said he's put about 3,000 miles on it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't think he's had it maybe a couple of years.
yeah, that's Tony. Yeah, he had a Pierce Arrow before this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, then I went a little crazy.
Oh.
I put a tiger's eye on it,
well,
and I ran the car through, I think it was Impressions. And then, oh, this isn't the right version. Now I'm looking at it. I did another version with a deep blue background that I like better. I grabbed the wrong one. The black I thought was just a little too harsh. The blue just really seemed to pull everything together. Sorry, I didn't do that. I can't tell you the millions of things I did with that eye and the top part of the hood ornament. I have lots of versions. In part, I have one where I put the fur on the hood ornament as well, the kind of wing part. I thought it was just a little bit too much. And I have other versions where I have tigers in the background. A tiger looks like this is his eye. But this one I like the best. Is I think the simplicity of it is kind of fun.
creative.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's good fun. So, oh, I see where you picked up those.
I
shapes.
think it's reflections from the sky,
Yeah, yeah. Really
Um,
got graphic here.
but it got pretty there. I really
Yeah,
liked what
yeah.
it did. And something, I don't know, I think it was impressions, made that the chrome part of the hood ornament really pretty too, and swirly. I liked how that came out
Yeah,
too.
give it a patina, yeah,
Mhm.
and down through here too.
Yeah, it did some fun stuff down there.
Mhm.
I
Nice.
think it was a reflection of a tree.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think
Yeah,
that was in the area. So
Nice.
that's it.
Okay,
Very good.
Thanks.
let's go to Wendell.
okay,
Oh, neat.
okay. A few days ago, I went down to Canoa Ranch, historic Canoa Ranch, and wandered around, and there wasn't a single other visitor there that I saw. I saw one workman, but I wandered around. This was in one of the houses where they had a lot of historic posters and things about the history of the ranch, but this was a mannequin in a glass case, and I liked his outfit and his kind of Day of the Dead makeup. So I just put the camera right up close to the glass to eliminate some of the reflections, and then I had to do a little cloning up on his hat brim to get away from some of the other lighting that was obscuring that. But other than that, it was pretty much straight, but it went into topaz for the impressionism, which turned out to be a relatively mild version of it. But anyway, I call it the Canoa Cowboy, but that's just something a little different down there. I don't know if it's something new. I don't remember ever
I
seeing
don't
it.
remember seeing it there either. It also reminds you of the rodeo clowns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's probably what the deal
Mhm.
is, because he's got suspenders on his pants like they might have.
Mhm.
Yeah, really big waisted pants too.
I don't recall that they were, but they might have been.
Yeah.
I didn't take a
Mhm.
whole body picture of him. But yeah, that's probably what that would be on the face paint.
Could be. That's fun.
Yeah. Anyway, that was just a little something different, and then use a topaz frame on it.
Mhm.
So that's about as wild as I got.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, this is right down in one of the houses, I guess the ranch house there at Canoa. And I thought it was such a nice, peaceful little sitting area out on the Arizona room. So I used a topaz color sketch on this to just soften it a little bit. The straight picture looked pretty nice, but it looked like something you'd see in Good Housekeeping or Better Homes and Gardens. So I wanted a little more painterly, and the colored sketch seemed to give us something a little soft, but kept a lot of detail. So
Mhm.
a good option for a subject like this, where you're just looking for a relaxing look, which is what the spot made me think of. You have to have coffee and sit out there in the mornings. And frame it is also topaz.
So they've accessorized a lot of those areas quite a bit more since I've been there.
Yes, I
Plants and, yeah, nice.
didn't remember this either.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be opening a restaurant in there, aren't they, somewhere?
I don't know. I also heard they were gonna put up some RV spots where right now they have I think they have 2 or 4 spots there for the people that stay overnight and keep An Eye on the Grounds.
Mhm.
They're supposed to be adding that too. Yeah, I like the pastel quality of this. It's really nice.
Mhm. It's beautiful.
Okay, this
Mhm.
is what I used Photoshop and the split toning first on it. And that was pretty good, but I went one step further and used topaz line and ink to get the color that came out, this kind of pale mustard yellow on the walls and the darker blue on the shaded area of the walls.
Mhm.
So just made it a lot more distinct, because I was just looking at all the lines and shapes in the house there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, just using the two different techniques on it made it quite a bit more interesting than the original.
Mhm. Now, is that the main house or is that the bunkhouse?
I think this is actually the main house, the Manning, I believe it's the Manning house.
Right.
That,
Yeah, because I think the bunkhouse has screens.
yeah,
Yeah.
actually they had a lot of this boarded up, but anyway,
Well, that's too bad.
yeah, I think, well, actually the house in the background, I think had boarded up windows. This one, the windows were open, and I think they had some displays set up inside there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just one of my shapes and lines shots.
Yeah, definitely nice. Good use of
Yeah.
lens and perspective.
Mm, yeah. Okay, yes, Sandy,
like
you've
this
seen this
better.
before. Well, you told me about when I did the black and white one, and I was fussing trying to get a drop shadow, a homemade drop shadow. Well, I tried what you had suggested, started to anyway, copying the image itself, the gate, and then painting it and making reducing opacity and all kinds of things. And I wasn't getting results I liked too much, and I decided not to spend any more time on it. So I went to the automatic ones in Photoshop for a drop shadow,
Mhm.
which I watched the video on that. And so that's what this is. And that worked quite well, I thought, and very easy. So,
Yeah, now they let you do multiple ones, so you could do, a close one and a far one and something in between if you wanted, and maybe
Yeah.
pick another one to distort it. Yeah. Really,
Yeah.
it's kind of infinite what you can do now.
yeah, and all the changes of light direction, and
Mhm.
also interested in trying the ones where you actually kind of tilt the shadow down behind the subject and make it look like you've got light coming behind you, creating a shadow behind some
Mhm.
statue or whatever.
Yeah,
Find a use for that sometime. But
yeah.
anyway, that's all I did there. And then I had to also make a layer out of the frame so that I could do a drop shadow there,
Mhm.
because
It really has a feeling of 3D. I mean, it looks like that piece is mounted on the background.
yes, yeah, that was my aim.
Really, really nicely done.
Yeah.
Which menu is this drop shadow under, Wendell?
It's in
let's see,
effects.
what I did is,
F, it's effects.
Here, let's
yeah, FX down at the bottom on the layers panel. There's another way to get there, I think, but
Yeah. Let's
yeah.
start with, well, let's see.
yeah, clear.
Let me just see if I can select subject or something here.
Yes.
See how well it works. Oh, that's not too bad. All right. Let me just cut this out, paste it on, new layer. And Let's
Yeah,
take this
okay, you've got
background.
the FX right down at the lower right corner here.
Yeah,
That's-
it's right here.
Oh, down there.
Yeah, let me show you real quick, a couple things. The old fashioned way to have done this would have been to take this layer, and if you hold down like your command key and click on it, you get the mask back. And then I would make a new layer in between, and I would just fill that with black. Okay. And I could take that and then deselect that and go to your move tool and then kind of move it to where you want it. And then now we're doing this back the old fashioned way. So you'll see how easy the effects way is. Then I would just take Gaussian blur to it,
Yeah.
and set the blur wherever I wanted.
Mhm.
All right, once I had that, maybe I don't want it quite as blurry, because let's just grab it so we can see it here real quick. Yeah, maybe something like that, because we're gonna make it a closer shadow, okay? And then I'm gonna move it and kind of just tuck it up in there like that. And then what I would do is I would change it maybe to multiply, and I would take the opacity down. Yeah, something like that. That gives you that kind of dimensional shadow where you got a double thing going. Now what you do is you take the layer and you go down to effects, you open it up, or just click on it and see it's got drop shadow. It's got all kinds of stuff on it. You can bevel, stroke, emboss. Okay, so we've got the drop shadow here. All right. First, you can set the lighting, but you can't see much here. You want to deal with distance, spread, size. Not so much size. There we go. And then you've got opacity. Somewhere you've got the softening. I'm trying to remember where the heck.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you have softening.
Yeah, we used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you used to be able to grab the edge of it and bring it up too. You used to be able to bring this so it was more overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they took all that away.
Yep.
Let's get rid of global lighting and see if it'll let us do it. All right. Nope, can't do it anymore. Well, that's too bad. Those were some nice features. Okay.
Yeah. And they're probably selling this as an enhancement.
Yeah, right. That's a shame. They took away a lot of goodies here. Oh, well, there it is. It's a spread that does it.
Okay.
Yeah, bring the spread down and change the size. There it is. I knew it was in there somewhere. But they did take away this ability to change the light to more overhead.
Yeah.
They may still have it in Boss. I don't know. We'll take a look. And then you've got, your different blending modes, but usually multiply is the one that works. But now you've got a plus sign here. You can do as many as you want. You can keep adding them, and on each one of them, you can change the distance, the spread, the size, and so on. So, you can kind of get a cumulative thing going here. There's bevel and emboss as well. So let's say we could do bevel and emboss on there. Maybe. So so you've got inner, outer, pillow emboss, which is kind of fun sometimes. And then basically you just make the size, and this will give you an idea of what it looks like here, and then you can get interactive with it. maybe we want to do it down instead of up. And maybe I want to do an inner bevel there. There we go. Nah, it's too busy there. Let's try an outer. Let's see what that does. Yeah, I think it works better with a harder object.
Mhm.
You know, like your,
Especially like with
Yeah.
the text.
yeah,
Really nice on text.
yeah, you can see a contour, and then you can add a texture to it if you want. You know,
Mhm.
pick a pattern, you know, something bubbly like that. So yeah, you can have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Actually, this image, I think, had 4 different layers because I had that kind of cranberry colored background, and then I had a grunge layer above it that was pretty low opacity, and then the gate itself was a layer, and then I had to make the frame a layer or two so I could put the drop shadow on it. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
there's more to it than it looks.
Yeah.
Always
let me
is.
just quickly. Just do this and then take this part out. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's,
Yeah, we can just copy and paste that. Wait a minute, get on the right layer here. Okay. And yeah, so you can take the effects to that. Maybe let's see what the bevel does with that.
Yeah, it might be nice.
Yeah. So so we do an inner bevel, we make it pretty good
oh,
size.
oh,
there.
I see, yeah.
Change the depth a bit. You can chisel it hard or soft. It's a little harder chisel, softer.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things you can play with. You can contour it. Also, you've got this contour where you can,
Oh, yeah.
change the way it does it. So yeah, you can go down that rabbit hole if you want.
Yeah.
Anyway, the effects add on to the layers is quite fun. You ought to give it a try. There's a lot there you can learn. Yeah, maybe there'll be some new techniques you might come up with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. This was also down there at Canoa Ranch. It's an old stationary engine. And I just thought it was kind of cool. We've had a lot of old pictures of farm equipment and stuff like that. So I did that. And then it was a colored pencil topaz filter on that. I think that's the one that it's 70% to bring back a little of the background, but also it made the old rusty parts more of a painterly look.
Mhm.
So that I guess it'd be of limited interest to people like old rusty hardware.
Looks like it's got a brand new spark plug on it.
Well, yes, that, in fact, I had to send Sandy a revised copy this morning with the spark plug, because that was, in spite of the age of the thing, that porcelain on that spark plug was still nice. And I think you can read the lettering on it even.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the first version, I hadn't done anything with that. The topaz had kind of covered it up. So I went back and modified it to make it stand out a little bit.
Mhm.
I forget what you call that kind of engine.
Well, they just called it a stationary engine. It'd be like for running a sawmill or maybe some other farm equipment, I guess.
Yeah, hay baler or something.
Yeah.
Boy, look at those old hand wells.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's the fuel tank or not, but And then you can see a rocker arm there operating a valve.
Mhm.
But I see what looks like the top end of another valve up above it, but I don't see any rocker arm or push rod for it. So maybe that's missing. But I think they need an intake and exhaust valve on it.
Hmm.
Anyway, that was just kind of a.
Yeah, that might be the fuel tank. This almost looks like the old fuel bulbs where you could see.
Oh, yeah.
if there's-
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's anything
Yeah.
that needs to get cleaned out.
Yeah.
So, fun. Well, thanks. That was interesting. To get back over there one of these days. And let's see, did we get it?
Yeah.
See, is Ellen here? No, I don't see Ellen. All right, I'll save his stuff for next time. All right, well, let me show you what I've been doing. Just kind of playing around this week. Get a little bit of everything. And back in Bodie, California.
Wow.
It's a church when you first come in.
I haven't been there since the 70s.
Hasn't changed much.
Imagine it hasn't. Have they improved the road driving in?
No.
Oh, okay.
Still scrub board.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's still scrub board.
You got a new roof on it though.
It looks like it.
Like it, yeah.
Yeah, shake shingles. Yeah, they keep the roofs at least in good enough shape that they don't lose the interiors or the integrity of the buildings.
Mhm.
I think that plain blue sky works really nice with that.
Yeah, I was thinking of changing it out. I thought, nah,
I
I
don't
like the
know.
warm and cool and the geometric
Yeah,
shape of
do
going.
too. And everything is such angles and
Mhm.
straight lines. I think
Yeah.
puffy clouds would
This
probably.
building back here was kind of blue gray, and I masked that off and corrected it because it was just bringing my eye there too
Uh,
often. But that's about it, other than just enhancing it.
mhm.
Yeah, this was up the street. I just thought it was interesting with the rotten bucket there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rotting bucket.
Yeah.
You know, I had shot a whole bunch to the point where I was only at the far end and my card was full and I didn't have my spare one.
Oh,
So I had to walk all the way back to the parking lot and get another card. So then it was, a different time of the day than I had been in that area before. And the reflections in the windows were really amazing. So I started concentrating on those and did like a whole series of those as well. Which I could probably.
it's like a screen door, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kind of amazing. You think of screen doors as being more modern.
yeah. Yeah. And this is
Hmm.
up in Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a ferry in the background?
Yep.
Yeah.
Car ferry on the way back up
Nice.
to San Juan's or Vancouver out on the wedge.
Oh, that was Friday Harbor that burned.
Was it?
Yeah, I was down historic downtown Friday Harbor, like 6 buildings in the 1800s that
Ah.
burned.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, sad.
Hmm. Wow. Anyway, I can't remember. This is up in Port Angeles or Anacortes. I'm not sure.
I don't think it's not Anacortes, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I think it's somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Nice.
Oh, tugboat. Oh, no, it's a fishing boat, isn't it?
Yeah, this was off of Vancouver Island when we were walking around those, was it Bouchard Gardens?
Right.
there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you walk up to one of the edges, you can see there's a little harbor there. I just took a shot from there.
Hmm.
It's been about 20 years since I've been there.
Yeah, I used to anchor in there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, real nice. And
Oh, that's
Nice.
this is either Oregon or California. coast. We just kind of took the whole thing.
Probably
We're
Oregon.
down to Eureka, but yeah, it looks like Oregon more than California.
Very nice.
We got to teach you to stop saying Oregon.
What is it, Oregon?
Oregon,
Oregon. Yeah.
Oregon.
Oregon, not Oregon.
And what do you call the people? Are they Oregonians?
Oregonians.
Oregonians. Okay.
I lived there for 6 years. So.
Ah, okay. Yeah,
Oh,
I believe this was up in Canada.
Really beautiful reflection.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very still.
And I like the little outcroppings in the foreground there.
Mhm. Yeah, I did open these up a bit. They were kind of blocked out. Other than that, I didn't do too much. Oh, and then I darkened the foreground up a little bit.
Very nice.
Very peaceful.
Yeah. And the lush forest. I think this was
Ooh,
a big peninsula. And
It's like the Olympic Peninsula.
yeah.
definitely not around here.
Someone else taking a shot there.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only place it didn't rain that trip. Go figure. Because usually it's constantly raining there, but yeah, we had 3 days of sunshine there.
Wow.
Yeah. I think when I left you, Jim, it was raining. We were going.
Yeah, it was raining.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. And this one's an actual sun rays. I didn't use luminar for this one.
Wow.
I did change the sky though. It was pretty washed out. And another one where the fog was starting to roll in and
Pretty.
kind of refracting through the trees. And this was in a museum. I can't remember where, but I really liked it. Almost like a dressed up matchstick person or something.
Hair on Fire comes to mind.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Some of the redheads I used to know, including my wife. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find that. Geez, Monument Valley. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, I see the rainbow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Same
right
scene,
on,
different
right on
day.
cue, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Always a double.
Yeah.
Mm.
So this is like right in front of the visitor center on that wall that kind of sits on the edge there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was pouring on and off, but yeah, last minute sun came
got
out
lucky.
Need it.
on the west side, and that was it. Anyway,
5:20
yeah,
at this time of the year.
yeah, I think it was that. Oh, I guess I should have looked at the time. Oh well. Yeah, hang on, let me turn this stuff off.
Good session.